Silence can drown a love even before it gets a chance to breathe. In a lavish, modern mansion situated in the heart of Seoul, Ji-yeon held her breath, her spirit a ghost wandering through empty hallways. The ornate chandeliers glimmered coldly above her, reflecting the stark reality of her life married to Min-jun, a man whose wealth loomed larger than any affection he had for her. Their union had been arranged, meticulously calculated, yet the warmth of intimacy never flickered between them. To Min-jun, Ji-yeon was little more than a decorative piece in his carefully curated world, a means to cement his status rather than a partner to cherish. Day after day, she meticulously prepared meals, arranged flowers, and kept the house pristine, all the while yearning for a flicker of attention that remained perpetually out of reach. Evenings often found Ji-yeon poring over books in the solitude of their dimly lit library, the pages whispering dreams of love stories that seemed as unattainable as a star in the farthest galaxy. Min-jun's late nights filled with meetings and social gatherings left her alone with her thoughts, marooned in a mansion that held no secrets of affection. It was the silence that spoke the loudest, filling the spaces between them with an invisible barrier that seemed impossible to breach. One fateful afternoon, while Ji-yeon arranged the dining table for his return, she discovered a letter hidden at the back of a forgotten drawer. Addressed lovingly to Min-jun from a woman named Hae-won, a designer whose elegant visage often graced the magazines lining her coffee table. The words cut deep. The correspondence oozed admiration and longing, revealing not just a romantic interest but a desperate hope for Min-jun's attention that mirrored her own. Ji-yeon's hands trembled as she placed the letter back, realizing with a pang of heartbreak that she wasn't the only woman vying for his affections, whose heart hungered unfulfilled. A mixture of jealousy and clarity struck her that evening. The next few encounters with Min-jun now crackled with unspoken tension. One humid night, unable to contain her emotions any longer, Ji-yeon confronted him. "Why do you ignore me?" she whispered, her voice trembling like the storm outside, where thunder rolled in rhythm with her racing heart. Min-jun, taken aback, hesitated before replying, "It's easier this way, isn't it?" His words echoed in her ears, awakening a determination she hadn't realized she possessed. Ji-yeon resolved to break through despite the darkness that hung between them. She retraced the moments of their marriage, searching for flickers of joy they once shared and willing to ignite a spark. Progress was slow, but she noticed an unease in Min-jun. For the first time, he looked at her as if unsure of the reality they inhabited. One evening, following a shared meal full of stolen glances and uncomfortable silences, a storm raged outside, trapping them within four walls, just as the emotions trapped within their hearts had been. That night, as lightning illuminated their surroundings, Min-jun found himself drawn to Ji-yeon's vulnerability. The walls they had constructed began to crumble, brick by brick. In the flickering light of candles, he pulled her in, their bodies colliding as the barriers fell away. For the first time, they were not strangers, but two souls finding solace and understanding in one another. Their union breathed life into years of desolation, awakening dormant feelings that spiraled into a passionate embrace that shook them both. However, this rekindled flame ignited further complications. Days turned into topsy-turvy weeks when Ji-yeon discovered she was pregnant, a ripple of fear and hope intertwining within her. The news arrived alongside the shadows of the past, presenting both couples with uncertainty and uncharted territory. Just as she built a newfound connection with Min-jun, a sinister twist unfurled. Hae-won, attempting to reclaim her position in Min-jun's life, began weaving herself insidiously back into the narrative. Just as Ji-yeon and Min-jun navigated each precarious step of their commitment, the threat of Hae-won's manipulations loomed large, forcing them to confront not only their trust in each other, but the very foundation of their relationship. Hae-won's words dripped with charm, almost tempting Min-jun to step back into the joy of fleeting moments as she attempted to rekindle old flames. Ji-yeon could feel her heart break with each alluring glance exchanged, yet she remained steadfast in her commitment to rise above, embodying an unwavering resilience that was beginning to define her new identity. Then, amidst swirling chaos, the death of Ji-yeon's father came like a fatal twist. revealing a web of hidden family secrets. Each secret revealed during the funeral unraveled Ji-yeon's very foundation and pulled Min-jun closer as he became her anchor during turbulent waters. In their shared vulnerability, he volunteered to handle her father's estate, a gesture that slowly bridged the gap between them. Together, they decided to confront both their expanding futures and fears of the past. The heartbeat echoing within Ji-yeon grew stronger, each thump a reminder of their new life. Min-jun acknowledged his growing love for Ji-yeon amidst the madness, and in a moment of idealistic clarity, he was reminded that she wasn't just his contract wife. He vowed to protect their family, embracing both Ji-yeon's dreams and his own sense of duty. Their journey was sealed with intense conversations over shared meals, tears, laughter, and quiet evenings in the same library where Ji-yeon once felt lonesome. Every moment brought them closer to understanding one another's deepest fears and desires. Eventually, even Haewon's attempts became futile. Min-jun made it clear where his heart truly belonged, dispelling the shadows of doubt that had loomed over their love. When the moment finally arrived, a healthy child emerged from the union built on trust, humility, and resilience, solidifying their bond in ways they'd never thought possible. The confirmation that the child was truly Min-jun's brought joy wrapped in hope, a new beginning. Together, hand in hand, they stepped forward into an uncertain world, no longer masked by fear or obligation. In this rebirth, Ji-yeon whispered softly, "We'll create our own story together." It was a promise, a testament to the potential of unconditional love, echoing through the once empty halls of their lavish mansion, reminding them that even in the darkest times, beautifully intricate lives could be woven among disjointed moments. 5 years can stretch like a silent echo, filling the spaces between love with a poignant emptiness. In the bustling heart of Seoul, Ji-yeon's elegant figure wandered through the halls of an extravagant mansion, where the walls carried whispers of unfulfilled dreams. Her marriage to Min-jun resembled a gilded cage. From the outside, it appeared opulent, yet within it lay the suffocating air of disconnection. Each day blurred into the next, as she poured her energy into mundane tasks, attempting to infuse warmth into their home, only to be met with Min-jun's cold indifference. His world revolved around his empire, leaving little room for marital affection or even the kindness of a gentle touch. Ji-yeon displayed remarkable strength, her quiet resolve an undercurrent as she meticulously devised plans to reclaim her future. After countless evenings spent alone, she enrolled in a photography class, submerging herself in the art of capturing fleeting moments. Every click of the camera became a form of emotional expression, allowing her creativity to blossom against the sterile environment of their mansion. Yet, each time she turned to share her excitement with Min-jun, his responses were as predictable as the ticking clock, a reminder of the emotional chasm that lay between them. She longed for acknowledgement, for meaningful conversations that could sew them back together, but the passionless air between them only fueled her solitude. Meanwhile, Min-jun grappled with a growing sense of dissatisfaction that gnawed at him, an unsettling discontent bubbling beneath his polished exterior. He found himself increasingly aware of the emptiness encasing his life, a realization that surfaced when he met Ji-yeon's eyes across the room one evening. A flicker of emotion sparked in that moment as he remembered the girl who had once captivated him. Yet as quickly as it appeared, he buried it, dismissing the feeling as weakness. His ambition, draped in the sleek fabric of success, demanded his unwavering focus, leading him to an unrelenting belief that emotion was a distraction he could ill afford. But while chasing the unrelenting pursuits of success, he began to lose sight of his own happiness. An unexpected twist rocked the foundation of their monotonous routine. One weekend, Ji-yeon organized a small dinner gathering with a few friends to celebrate her recent photography achievements. Min-jun, initially disinterested, reluctantly agreed, caught between the desire to support her and the weight of his business obligations. As the evening unfolded, the vibrancy of laughter and camaraderie filled the mansion, engulfing Ji-yeon in a warmth she had long missed. Observing her animated conversations with their friends, Minjun felt a pang of longing, a realization he couldn't afford to ignore. He had allowed the life he built to smother the joy that Ji-yeon could bring into his world. As the night wore on, an unsettling unease settled into his heart when Hai-won, a talented designer whom he had occasionally collaborated with, arrived late, her charismatic presence drawing everyone's attention. Ji-yeon welcomed her warmly, attempting to ignore the flicker of jealousy that ignited within Minjun. The sparkle in Hai-won's eyes and her effortless ability to command the room left him exposed, eliciting questions about his own dissatisfaction. He realized he wanted to protect Ji-yeon, yet the specter of his marriage loomed large, reminding him of the promises unfulfilled and moments missed. The morning after, the sun rose on a hushed promise of change. At breakfast, Ji-yeon reached for Minjun's hand, a gesture that pulled them back from the edge of remoteness. "You've been so focused on everything else. I just want us to reconnect." Her voice trembled with honesty, her vulnerability laid bare. Something shifted within Minjun, the walls that he built around himself beginning to crack. He brushed his fingers against hers, an innocent interaction, yet it sent ripples through both their souls. They stayed silent for a moment, allowing the weight of her words to settle in, feeling the intimacy of their connection threatened, yet invigorated by the possibility of redemption. However, the confrontation with Hai-won and her incessant flirtation became a catalyst Minjun could no longer ignore. One evening after another excruciatingly formal business dinner, Minjun made a choice. "I can't keep pretending I don't want to be here, Ji-yeon. I need to figure out what this is between us," he confessed, his heart pounding with uncertainty. Ji-yeon's eyes widened in surprise, hope glimmering through her doubts as the words hung delicately between them, igniting a flame of responsibility, vulnerability, and possibility. The confrontation sparked change, leading them down a path towards rediscovery, creating intimate spaces in the chaos of their lives. As they started navigating their own hopes and fears, learning to communicate not just expectations but also dreams and fears, the mansion gradually transformed. Hidden laughter echoed through the rooms. Murmurings of old dreams resurfaced, dancing across the atmosphere where once silence prevailed. Together, they forged a new understanding of love that couldn't be confined by the borders of a contract or societal pressure. Each day, as they embarked on small adventures together, they began to realize love doesn't always appear in grand gestures. Sometimes, it grows quietly through shared moments of kindness and honesty. And just when it seemed their efforts were bearing fruit, a twist awaited them. The arrival of Ji-yeon's unexpected pregnancy sent shockwaves through their lives. Both filled with joy and trepidation over their future, they were tested yet again, forced to confront fears they thought long buried. In the soft glow of anticipation, a new pull toward facing their past became undeniable. Minjun learned to embrace the idea of fatherhood, wrestling with the floodgate of emotions as Ji-yeon, with a gentle strength, guided him through their newfound circumstances. The realities of their commitment empowered Ji-yeon to step into her own strength, while Minjun slowly unearthed his vulnerability, unable to deny the truth of what love could be when nurtured with care and understanding. Together, they confronted the lingering whispers and expectations of their lives, learning that conflicts do not define them, but rather sculpt a deeper bond. On a rain-soaked afternoon, heartbeats racing, with the weight of their dreams cascading around them. They exchanged promises, bound not merely by a contract, but by the sheer essence of their commitment to one another. A lingering embrace signified a newfound hope, illuminating the path ahead. They agreed that while their journey was just beginning, the complexity of love, a rich tapestry woven through countless challenges and understanding, would guide them forward. With one tentative step following the next, they reveled in the uncertain beauty of their shared future, where hearts once silent thrummed with a vibrant melody of promise. A storm can reveal the truth hidden beneath layers of silence. As thunder crashed over this soul mansion, Ji-yeon glanced at the dark clouds swirling in the sky, aware that the final days of her 5-year contract with Minjun were rapidly approaching. The once distant emotions they both suppressed started to bob and weave like the shifting winds. Inside, the opulent living room, cloaked in an air of elegance, felt strangely suffocating to Ji-yeon. She moved around the space, meticulously arranging the cushions, attempting to breathe life into the sterility of their surroundings. Every glance at Min-jun revealed a man who had long buried his feelings beneath layers of ambition and societal expectation. He focused on his work with a fierceness that made Ji-yeon's heart ache. Instead of the warmth she longed for, she only received fleeting glances and indifferent responses, solidifying her belief that their lives were merely on parallel tracks, never meant to intersect meaningfully. Yet, beneath Min-jun's composed exterior was a growing turmoil. He felt the weight of dissatisfaction pulling at him, creating a rift between his professional acclaim and personal happiness. As each day passed, the emptiness of his existence echoed louder, the lavish trappings of success feeling more like an elaborate cage than a sanctuary. Memories of the woman he'd taken to be his wife drifted away like the last autumn leaves, and in their place bloomed an unrealized yearning for something more, a connection he had deemed impossible. On the night of the storm, the electricity in the air added a charged tension to their already strained silence. Min-jun was late again, an extension of his duties at work dragging into the evening. Rain lashed against the windows, creating a cascade of sound that reverberated within Ji-yeon's heart. By the time he staggered in, he was soaked, a harbinger of the night's unforeseen detours. "Min-jun," she called, her voice slicing through the chaos of nature outside. "You should change." There was an urgency, a quiet plea nestled in her words that struck him. He lifted his gaze, wearied and out of sorts, seeing her for the first time in a way that made his heart falter. He began, but the ferocity of the storm drowned his words. The chaos became the backdrop to this pivotal moment as the power flickered and the lights went dark. In a rush of boldness, Ji-yeon grasped his arm. "We can't just stand here, can we? We should talk." In the dim light of the storm, vulnerability pierced through the icy shell he had encased around himself. And so they found themselves in the warmth of the bedroom, seeking refuge from the wild weather outside. Ji-yeon sat on the edge of the bed, her heart racing with apprehension. What if we spent these final days really trying to understand each other? Her voice was soft, a delicate invitation. Min-jun had never seen her this way, stripped of the false bravado she often wore. "I'm not sure if it's possible," he admitted, swallowing hard, his vulnerability raw. The old blockades of duty and formality began to crack, opening a floodgate of emotions he had long buried. As thunder reverberated outside, so did the commotion inside them. They lingered in uncertainty, but the storm forged an insistent bond, washing away lingering doubts. With a lost look, Min-jun sat beside her, expressed words tangling together in their throats before finally pouring out into a symphony of confessions. They spoke of dreams unfulfilled, of desires lost, and how life had kept them apart even under the same roof. Then, as if caught in an irresistible pull, they leaned closer, their hesitant breaths creating an intimacy that had long been absent. The moment sent chills spiraling down Ji-yeon's spine, the realization that they were teetering at a precipice, one that could plunge them into true intimacy or leave them exposed and vulnerable. And amidst the chaos, the missed kisses, the years of loneliness transformed into something beautiful as they crossed that threshold into a world where they could finally bare their souls to one another. As they ended up in bed, the barriers holding them captive melted away. Their bodies entwined, a dance of yearning and warmth took precedence over years of silence and misunderstanding. The air crackled with newfound connection. Ji-yeon felt empowered, daring to believe that they could forge a genuine relationship. Min-jun felt the shift within him. She was no longer just his contract wife, but the woman he could love fiercely, if only he allowed himself to open his heart while relinquishing the pressure of expectation. Morning arrived with the dawn's light streaming through the window, illuminating the aftermath of their honest exchange. They lay together, hearts racing but quietly content. With uncertainty painted across Ji-yeon's features, she turned to Min-jun. "What happens now?" His gaze softened, and for the first time, he wasn't running from an answer. "Now we try. We take it one moment at a time." While the future was unsettled and laden with unknowns, they each clung to hope. The hope that this connection could bridge the years of distance, that life could indeed offer a fresh start. In that fragile moment, amidst the remnants of a storm quelled, they finally began to understand the transformative power of the bond they had created, and for the first time, they felt alive. The journey ahead remained uncertain, but together, there would always be the promise of tomorrow, carved from the remnants of their past. A child can uproot everything you thought you knew about love. In the quiet aftermath of an extraordinary night, the reality of Ji-yeon's unexpected pregnancy settled over the couple like a heavy blanket, transforming the comfortable intimacy they had begun to forge into something much more complex. Emotions warred within her. Joy danced hand in hand with fear, creating a whirlwind that threatened her newfound connection with Min-jun. Could their fragile bond withstand the weight of impending parenthood? She felt a flutter of hope mixed with anxiety as she considered their uncertain future. Min-jun, meanwhile, paced anxiously in the expansive kitchen of their upscale home, the smell of coffee mixing with the rain-soaked air from the storm outside. The revelation had blindsided him, and the reality of impending fatherhood loomed before him like a daunting mountain. What did it mean to be a husband and a father now? Spiraling thoughts consumed him as he fought against the chaotic emotions surging inside him. The weight of responsibility crashed down, forcing him to reevaluate his role in Ji-yeon's life. "Are you—" Ji-yeon's quiet voice cracked through his thoughts, her eyes darting nervously as she leaned against the kitchen island. She was apprehensive about the words that hung between them, as fragile as glass. "I didn't expect this," he replied, avoiding her gaze as he turned his back to her. "I'm not sure I'll know how to be a dad." He struggled to articulate the tidal wave of emotions threatening to drown him. The dynamics of their relationship were shifting, and the thought of failing to protect Ji-yeon and their child terrified him. "Min-jun," Ji-yeon pressed gently, grounding herself in every ounce of courage she could muster. "We have time to figure this out. We can't keep running from what this means." Her words hung in the air, eliciting a twinge of guilt for all the moments he had taken her for granted, moments that could have forged a deeper connection. "I don't want to fail you," he confessed, the vulnerability in his admission sparking a flicker of hope within Ji-yeon that they could address their fears together. As days turned into weeks, Ji-yeon became determined to embrace this new chapter with open arms. Each morning she visualized a home filled with warmth, a contrast to the cold distance that had defined their marriage. Moments of intimacy turned into routines. She cooked nourishing meals, while Min-jun found himself drawn into these small rituals, sharing stories of his own childhood over dinner. For the first time in their relationship, she caught glimpses of a softer, more tender version of him, hidden beneath layers of ambition and societal expectations. Yet the impending arrival of their child cast shadows of uncertainty over their emotional progress, as the pressures of family expectations intertwined with their personal ambitions. Ji-yeon's overprotective mother began to weave her way back into the narrative, insisting Ji-yeon attend prenatal classes, and Min-jun soon found himself enveloped in more responsibilities than he had anticipated. Those early flickers of intimacy they shared felt threatened by the looming family obligations and the societal pressures that loomed like a specter over their heads. One evening, as the first rays of sunlight danced across the horizon, Ji-yeon felt the weight of expectations suffocate her. "I can't do this alone, Min-jun," she expressed during a quiet moment in the nursery they had begun to prepare. "I need you beside me, not just as a title, but as a partner. All those fears, we have to tackle them together." Min-jun sensed the urgency beneath her words and finally dared to confront his feelings. "I never meant to withdraw from you," he admitted, his eyes searching hers. "I was so terrified of failing that I didn't see how I could step up and be there for you." Their shared vulnerability formed a bridge of trust, leading them to acknowledge fears that had long remained unspoken. Yet just as they began to connect, an unexpected visitor shattered their fragile peace. Haewon arrived, bright-eyed and confident, bearing gifts for the baby with a charm that still unnerved Minjun. Ji-yeon felt a wave of insecurity ripple through her as Haewon liberated Minjun's attention, and the warmth between them flickered like a candle amid the wind. Minjun's heart raced as he noticed Ji-yeon's discomfort. "I'm here, Ji-yeon," he whispered, brushing his fingertips across her arm, a silent promise and acknowledgement that she took precedence. But the warmth dissipated as Haewon playfully interjected, fueling Ji-yeon's insecurities, and the air filled with unspoken competition. What if Minjun had only been drawn to Ji-yeon out of obligation, and would he truly choose her when faced with someone more vibrant? The emotional tension escalated, forcing Minjun into a crucial decision. He found himself at a crossroads, to keep succumbing to the comfortable familiarity of his past with Haewon, or to embrace the unknown possibilities with Ji-yeon. "Enough!" Minjun's voice cut through the chatter, firm and resolute. The room stilled, attention shifting towards him, both women frozen in surprise. "Ji-yeon is my wife. She's going to be the mother of my child, and I choose her. Always." In that one pivotal moment, the resolve he'd long wrestled with solidified. Minjun stepped toward Ji-yeon, his heart drumming with certainty. The relief washing over Ji-yeon was palpable as he chose their burgeoning relationship over proximity to a past that had already proven hollow. Reinforced by a new understanding and deepening connection, they faced a new day with a shared sense of purpose. As they prepared for the arrival of their child, Minjun began to understand that love required nurturing and vulnerability, elements integral to building the kind of family they both desired. It was a work in progress, filled with uncertainty, but alongside Ji-yeon, he was ready to embrace the journey ahead. Stepping hand in hand into the daylight, hope blossomed anew in their hearts. Amidst the complexities of growth and change, they were determined to face the future together, finding strength and joy through love forged in adversity. A child would birth a family, and with it, the promise of a shared life filled with laughter, resilience, and enduring connection. A spark can ignite new flames, even in the midst of a delicate rebirth. Minjun and Ji-yeon had begun to navigate their new roles as partners, their tentative bond slowly solidifying after the tumultuous storm of emotions that preceded their child's arrival. Just as hope began to blossom, a sudden distraction appeared, pulling Minjun's attention away from the warmth they had started to cultivate. Haewon emerged, a radiant designer with an effortless charm that captivated everyone around her. Their paths crossed during an extravagant launch for Minjun's company, where her creativity and elegance made her the star of the evening. As she engaged with Minjun, her laughter rang like music, drawing him in the moment she approached. Ji-yeon stood serviceably beside him, a smile frozen on her lips as she felt the warmth of their connection beginning to fade. Haewon's presence unleashed a whirlwind of insecurities deep within Minjun. Flashes of her playful interactions with him left Ji-yeon feeling increasingly marginalized, like an outsider in her own life. Jealousy twisted in her chest, uninvited, yet undeniable. Despite the love and affection that had sparked between them, doubt crept in, threatening to unravel the fragile relationship she had painstakingly nurtured. "Just because she's charming doesn't mean I'll fall for her," he reassured Ji-yeon one evening, attempting to ease the tension over dinner. "You know I chose you. We're building something special together. But are you really? Or is this just another distraction?" Ji-yeon felt her voice tremble, revealing the turmoil brewing within her. "What happens when things get tough? Will you look to her? She's so much more." The adjective hung heavy in the air, suffocating their shared intimacy. Feeling the weight of her words, Minjun struggled with the truth buried beneath his insecurities. Haewon's attention, kind and enthusiastic, had opened a door to a world where he could effortlessly shine. It made him question if he could truly be who Ji-yeon needed him to be while still navigating the complexities of family obligations. The following day, Ji-yeon entered manufacturing discussions with Min-jun, who seemed more preoccupied than usual. The atmosphere hung thick with tension while Haewon joined them for a meeting. Ji-yeon watched as Haewon effortlessly steered conversations, her voice melodic and confident, causing Min-jun to lean slightly closer, hanging on her every word. It was a stark realization for Ji-yeon. She was losing him to this radiant distraction. Frustration brewed inside her. She could no longer hide behind anxious smiles or passive resistance. That evening, she confronted him again. "It's not just about work, Min-jun. You can't let her walk into our lives and take you away from me." "Take me away?" His brow furrowed, irritation flashing across his face. "Do you really think I want that?" This rawness grounded her as she realized the deeper challenge they faced lay not just in her jealousy, but in his fear to confront the potential of true commitment that parenthood demanded. An unexpected twist struck when Haewon offered to throw an event to promote Min-jun's new product line. Her appeal was magnetic, a chance for Min-jun to shine as a successful CEO, with all eyes on him. Ji-yeon understood the value of such an opportunity, yet dread gnawed at her. Would it bring him closer to Haewon? On the night of the event, the showroom glowed under elegant lights, humming with anticipation. Min-jun was the center of attention, applauded and celebrated. Ji-yeon, seated at a table, felt like a distant spectator to her own life. She caught glimpses of Min-jun laughing with Haewon, her heart twisting in a mix of anger and uncertainty. As the night wore on, Min-jun caught sight of Ji-yeon and remembered the delicate threads that bound them together, their shared dreams, and the child who awaited their union. He excused himself, discontent growing as he marched towards her, determination burning in his eyes. "Can we talk?" he asked, his voice quiet yet urgent, leading her away from the insistent chatter and bright lights. The two found solitude on the balcony, where the city skyline stretched far and wide, illuminated under a blanket of stars. Ji-yeon felt overshadowed by her insecurities, but Min-jun took a step closer, invading her personal space. "I'm sorry for not being there for you," he began, the words filling the air between them. "Haewon makes it easy to forget how overwhelming this is, but you are the one I want beside me. We're starting a family, and I want to face this together." In the stillness of that moment, as the cool breeze enveloped them, Ji-yeon's heart softened, wrapping around the sincerity in his eyes. "Then promise me, you'll fight for us," she said, tears welling in her eyes. "I don't want to lose you in this chaos." His expression mingled state of concern and resolution. "I promise," he whispered, their pact lingering as something sacred. In that vulnerable exchange, they reignited the spark that had flickered and dimmed in the turbulence of uncertainty. Resuming the events inside, Min-jun felt renewed. The charisma he'd found in Haewon was redirected toward Ji-yeon, embracing her as the other half of his story. Dealing with insecurities became a joint venture, and the bond they forged amidst the chaos solidified through their vulnerabilities. As the days passed, Ji-yeon started to rediscover her own confidence, spending time with Haewon to understand her better. In doing so, she saw the designer's struggles. Her desire for validation mirrored her own insecurities, weaving connections where tension once thrived. While past doubts lingered at times, the two women found ways to navigate their roles in Min-jun's life with new awareness. Haewon's presence evolved from competition to an alliance, offering Min-jun the support he needed while acknowledging Ji-yeon's place at the center of their family. With time, the resolve within Ji-yeon solidified, allowing her to embrace the complexity of their intertwining lives. She accepted their journey for what it was, neither perfect nor immediately comfortable, but undeniably real. Together, they learned to face each challenge as it came, arming themselves with strength and trust that transformed their relationship. Amidst it all, hope blossomed anew. The intricate dance of love was far from simplistic, and within the threads of their differing strengths, they had finally begun to weave the tapestry of a family that could endure. Life can change in an instant, unraveling the threads of what we thought we knew. Just as Ji-yeon began to feel the warmth of serenity in her new life with Min-jun, she was shattered by the devastating news of her father's passing. The air felt heavy with grief as she sat on the edge of their luxurious bed, clutching her phone, the words echoing in her mind like an unrelenting drum. Her world tilted, and the robust facade she had been constructing with Min-jun began to crumble beneath the weight of sorrow. Her father was more than just a figure in her life. He was the protector of her dreams, the man who safeguarded her from a precarious world. With every memory swirling in her mind, a comforting laugh, a warm embrace, the reality of his absence plunged her into despair. Yet as she planned to honor his memory, secrets began to surface, sullying the only image of him that had ever stood firm. The funeral revealed cracks in her family history. Whispers escalated into murmurs, hinting at deals made in shadows. "He was never the man you believed him to be," an elderly family friend remarked during the gathering. "The contract, it was to cover debts," they said, bitterness threading through their words like poison. Suddenly, Ji-yeon's understanding of her father and their family history hung by a thread, unraveling her sense of identity as she grappled with the realization that her father's choices had consequences that loomed over her still. Amid this storm, Min-jun became an unexpected lifeline. He stepped in without hesitation, wrapping his arms around Ji-yeon, grounding her in the overwhelming chaos of emotions. "I'm here for you," he murmured, his voice steady against the raging tempest within her. Though the bond they shared was relatively new, something deep connected them, each root deepening with every shared struggle. Days passed, each one infused with bittersweet memories of her father layered over the new revelations. Ji-yeon felt Min-jun's presence beside her while they navigated family gatherings, each interaction weighted with unexpressed tensions. As relatives recounted stories of her father, she realized they were silently judging her, wondering how she would lean on her past now that the truth was revealed. In a moment of solitude, Ji-yeon found herself alone in her father's study, the scent of old paper filling the room. She stumbled across an entire box of unopened letters hidden beneath a book, letters that her father had never sent. Carefully, she opened one, and her heart raced as she learned more about his burdens, financial troubles, mistakes, and moral dilemmas that painted a stark contrast to the warmth she had always known. "What does this mean for me?" she whispered aloud, feeling small against the enormity of truth. The fallout of her father's decisions clashed with her own feelings of betrayal. Looking up, she saw Min-jun standing in the doorway, worry etched in his features. "What's wrong?" he asked, and she felt the weight of his concern. "Why didn't he tell me? Why did he hide this?" she replied, feeling lost in a sea of confusion. At that moment, Ji-yeon realized her grief was compounded by the fear that she could inherit not just his legacy, but also his mistakes. Min-jun stepped into the room, closing the gap between them. "You are not your father's choices. You have the power to forge your own path, to be someone different." His words struck a chord deep within her, igniting the embers of lost confidence into a tiny flame. In the days that followed, Min-jun took a proactive role in helping Ji-yeon confront her fears. Together, they unraveled the mystery by seeking out family friends who were willing to share stories and insights. Each revelation, while painful, became a thread in weaving a new tapestry of understanding about who her father was, the man behind the contract, behind the closed doors. As they pieced together fragments of the past, Ji-yeon felt a renewed strength rising within her, a desire to reclaim her identity, independent of her father's influence. The growth bore fruit in unexpected moments. She pointed out stories of resilience, of love thriving through difficult choices as they shared lively dinners with Min-jun's family, reconfiguring their own sense of unity. Yet an unexpected confrontation surged forth when a reporter published an article detailing her father's financial failings and the family's supposed downfall. The creeping whispers and scandal surrounded Ji-yeon, dragging her deeper into the public eye. The pressure mounted, and another storm threatened her newfound progress. In the midst of this turmoil, Min-jun's unwavering support shone brightly. "We will face this together, Ji-yeon," he assured her, his eyes fierce with determination. "This does not define you. Who you choose to be is what matters." During an emotional moment at his office, where they sought refuge from the chaos, Ji-yeon faced a choice. "I could run, hide, and pretend this never happened," she admitted, vulnerability etched across her features. "No," he said firmly, taking her hands in his. "You're strong enough to confront this head-on. You don't have to face it alone." Encouraged by his words, Ji-yeon resolved not to let her father's legacy be a burden, but an impetus for her own growth. With Min-jun by her side as a protector, they crafted a response that addressed the revelations honestly while celebrating her father's memory. Not as a man of shame, but as someone deeply flawed, yet loved. Their bond, solidified through this process, became a testament to resilience. As the dust settled, they found clarity beyond pain. It became the cradle for hope. Ji-yeon opened up about her dreams, vulnerabilities, and aspirations. Seeing a flicker of admiration in Min-jun's eyes ignited something within her that had long lain dormant. "We really can redefine what family means," she dared to dream aloud, feeling a spark of inspiration for the first time since her father's passing. In the aftermath, while the truth was still harsh and the path ahead uncertain, hope shimmered. Ji-yeon discovered strength she never knew she possessed, and with Min-jun beside her, they prepared to forge not only their own future, but also a legacy built on honesty, resilience, and love, crafted through unwavering commitment to one another. Grief has a way of unveiling the strength hidden beneath layers of facades. Ji-yeon's heart felt like shattered glass as she mourned her father, reflecting on a life punctuated by memories that now felt steeped in both love and regret. The funeral held an air so heavy that each breath marked an effort, yet surrounded by friends and family, she felt an unexpected warmth in Min-jun's presence beside her. In the days following her father's death, Ji-yeon oscillated between numbness and waves of sorrow, memories of her father, all-encompassing. On one particularly quiet evening, Min-jun insisted on accompanying her to the family home, where she would tend to the myriad responsibilities left in the wake of loss. Through their shared silence, she felt an unspoken bond forming between them, the air thick with emotions not just mournful, but anticipatory. "Let's sort through these together," he offered, standing at the threshold of her father's study. The scent of old books and memories enveloped them as they entered. Ji-yeon could hardly move, feeling the weight of countless burdens on her shoulders. Min-jun stepped forward, taking her hand gently. "You don't have to do it all alone." Her eyes glanced at him, surprise flickering to life. All those years apart, the sting of their emotional distance had stifled her spirit. As they sorted through the piles of letters and papers, Ji-yeon began to unwrap pieces of her father's life that existed beyond her own understanding. "How much did he care about his legacy?" she murmured, a note of pain in her voice. Min-jun stood beside her, reflecting back a softness that let her lean into her vulnerability. "He cared about you," he reassured gently. "You are part of his legacy, too." In that moment, Ji-yeon began to see a new side of Min-jun, a man resolute in anchoring her amidst the tempest of grief. With each shared moment, they began to stitch their lives closer together, intertwining their hearts through repressed fears and tender admissions. Yet amidst their growth, a shadow of doubt loomed. The hidden responsibilities of managing her father's affairs proved daunting, igniting internal conflict. As the days passed, Ji-yeon struggled with feelings of inadequacy, particularly when confronted with insistent family members who appeared unforgiving of her emotions. Each visit invoked the specter of her father's mistakes. One evening, as the sunset painted the sky with hues that matched her turmoil, Ji-yeon confronted Min-jun, her voice tinged with urgency. "What if I'm not enough? What if—" Her words tangled, struggling to formalize the brewing anxiety. "What if I fail at moving forward?" Min-jun, sensing the tremor in her voice, turned to her. "You can't carry this weight alone," he urged. "Let's navigate this together, step by step." The sincerity reflected in his eyes sparked something within Ji-yeon. Hope ran parallel to her fear, a testament to the undeniable connection they were forging. Just as it seemed they were moving toward healing, Ji-yeon received a letter addressed to her from a lawyer connected to her father's estate. Its contents shattered the tentative progress they had made. Hidden debts and unresolved contracts loomed ominously, intertwining Ji-yeon's fate with her father's mismanagement. Panic gripped her throat as she stood in the living room, the world around her blurring. "It's all falling apart, Min-jun," she cried, collapsing onto the couch. For a moment, despair consumed her, punctuated only by the sound of his approaching footsteps, the weight of uncertainty pressing sharply down. But as he knelt beside her, she felt a potent resolve. "We can fight this," he declared, his hands resting firmly on her shoulders, grounding her amidst the chaos. "Your father's past doesn't dictate your future. You have the power to change everything from here." Nothing felt more potent than that moment. They were thrust into the eye of a storm together, side by side, preparing to face whatever consequences loomed ahead. In those moments of raw vulnerability, Ji-yeon fully comprehended that their relationship extended beyond mere companionship. They were allies ready to confront the uncertainties of life together. As days turned into weeks, Ji-yeon and Min-jun delved deeper into the realm of family finances, enduring trial after trial. They faced late-night discussions over coffee, poring over documents drenched in frustration yet tethering them together as each struggle revealed profound layers of trust. "Just when I think I'm losing everything, you find a way to keep me afloat," Ji-yeon admitted one evening, fatigue lacing her words, but warmth enveloping the truth. "I've never felt this supported, and I've never felt needed," Min-jun responded softly, reflecting on the bond they had cultivated. "We're each other's strength." One evening exposed not only the depth of their relationship, but also a turning point of their emotional connection. In the glow of candlelight, with shadows dancing around them, Ji-yeon spoke from the core of her heart. "I want us to build a family that stands firm together, stronger than our past." Min-jun's gaze sharpened, the weight of her words resonating through him. "Together, we can make this work." His fingers intertwining with hers ignited a profound promise between them, a future built not on shadows, but on light. As they continued to unearth the intricacies of Ji-yeon's inheritance, something beautiful emerged from the ashes. Min-jun became not just her partner in facing the legacy of loss, but in building anew. Hope flourished, an unconditional bond tightening around them, weaving warmth and strength through the remaining intricacies of loss that still lingered. Eventually, as they stood side by side, facing life's uncertainties, it became clear that together they could endure any challenge. They had learned to navigate the remnants of their pasts, crafting a new and shared path toward a future filled with possibility, anchored in love and resilience. Jealousy can twist even the closest bonds into fragile threads. As Ji-yeon and Min-jun began to reclaim the lost intimacy of their relationship, their world was suddenly rocked by the arrival of Hae-won, a past flame of Min-jun's whose feelings had yet to dissipate. In the wake of Ji-yeon's grief, Hae-won's jealousy surged, morphing into an obsession to reclaim Min-jun, whom she believed was hers by right. In a polished coffee shop, filled with the energetic buzz of conversation and soft laughter, Hae-won plotted her next moves, determined to divide the couple she perceived as a threat to her happiness. "If I can make him doubt her," she resolved, "he'll come back to me." With her compelling charm and manipulation skills, she began to spread rumors, planting seeds of uncertainty that would bloom into misunderstandings. As Ji-yeon and Min-jun grew closer, their heartfelt moments deepened. Hand in hand, they explored the quiet corners of their relationship, sharing dreams over late-night conversations and nurturing a bond that felt resilient against the trials of their pasts. Yet, the carefully laid foundation began to tremble as Hae-won's whispers infiltrated their world, her calculated moves creating fissures in that newfound connection. During a picnic at the park, laughter danced between Ji-yeon and Min-jun, a blissful moment punctuated by the sunlight filtering through the trees. But the laughter faltered when Ji-yeon's phone buzzed with a message. a cleverly crafted photograph showcasing Min Jun and Hai Wan, framed innocuously yet implying the intimacy of their past. The smile faded from Ji Yeon's face, replaced by confusion and hurt. "Min Jun, what is this?" Her voice wavered with uncharacteristic vulnerability. "It's nothing, I swear," he implored, rushing to reassure her. But doubt crept into Ji Yeon's heart, an unwelcome companion. In that instant, the warmth of their bond felt frayed, the joy of shared intimacy dimmed by shadows of the past. As misunderstandings multiplied, Ji Yeon and Min Jun found themselves drawn into a labyrinth of emotions. Hae Won's manipulations culminated when she orchestrated an encounter that was too coincidental to bear. She invited herself to a gathering Min Jun had organized for Ji Yeon's family, presenting herself as if she belonged. Throughout the evening, Ji Yeon watched as Hai Won flitted around Min Jun, expertly eliciting laughter with playful touches and flirtatious banter. The tension in Ji Yeon's heart was almost tangible now, gnawing away at the trust they had begun to build. Min Jun, torn between the remnants of an old relationship and his commitment to Ji Yeon, felt lost amid rising currents of loyalty. "Can you not see the game she's playing?" Ji Yeon finally confronted him when they retreated to a balcony to catch their breath. Her heart raced, driven by a need to expose the turbulence within them. "I need you to fight for us." "It's complicated," he replied, emotion bubbling up in his voice. "Hae Won is part of my past. But you are my present and my future. Can't you understand that?" At that pivotal moment, raw emotions merged with the weight of unspoken truths. The realization pressed upon them both. Would they fold under the strain, or would they emerge from the tempest stronger? Min Jun had to confront his lingering feelings for Hai Won, while firmly choosing Ji Yeon as he witnessed the hurt in her eyes. With palpable tension hanging like mist, Min Jun took a deep breath, his voice steady. "I am choosing you, Ji Yeon. I want a future with you, not with her." The words marked a turning point, illuminating the path forward. But with that clarity came yet another challenge. They both knew that the scars of past relationships would not vanish overnight. Hai Won, sensing her grip slip away, escalated her tactics, orchestrating a final confrontation that would open Ji Yeon's eyes, but could just as easily drive a wedge between her and Min Jun. In a heated moment, Hae Won insinuated that Ji Yeon was merely a distraction for him, playing on the insecurities that had bubbled beneath the surface since the beginning of their relationship. As Min Jun stood at a crossroads, he felt the ceiling of their connection begin to crack under stress. "Stop! This needs to end," he declared, standing between Hae Won and Ji Yeon. "I won't let you manipulate us any longer." In that instant, Ji Yeon felt a thawing of doubt. Perhaps their bond could withstand the storm if Min Jun's resolve was true. Hai Won, realizing her efforts to tear them apart had only led them closer together, stepped back, defeated, her own motivations laid bare. "Fine, you win this time," she spat, turning on her heel as the fury ebbed from her eyes. The battle had left scars on all sides, but Min Jun and Ji Yeon stood tall, their relationship hanging precariously but alive with potential. As the dust settled, the couple took a moment to breathe while still processing everything they had endured. "I need to understand you, Min Jun. I want to be more than just your choice. I want to be your partner in every aspect," Ji Yeon confessed, certainty mingling with vulnerability. "I want that too," he replied, stepping closer, his eyes seeking hers with a warmth that dispelled lingering shadows. "I want to build a future with you, one where trust is unshakable." The experience had fortified them both, revealing the intricacies of love, loyalty, and resilience. As they faced the future, unencumbered by Hae Won's shadows, they realized the strength of their bond could foster healing and growth. Together, they would navigate the complexities of what lay ahead, binding them together in ways deeper than either had previously imagined. In the wake of their trials, Ji Yeon and Min Jun emerged with a profound understanding that love's journey is often not without its battles. But in unity, they discovered the courage to embrace uncertainty. Hope lingered at the edges of their shared horizon, where promise awaited. a testament to their shared resilience amidst life's swirling challenges. Love can stir the deepest fears into the light. Ji-yeon's heart raced as she stood in the softly lit living room, shadows flickering around her like the doubts troubling her mind. The vibrant sentiment she and Min-jun had recently forged clashed violently with the doubts sown by the rumors surrounding Haewon, and now she found herself at a precipice, ready to confront the truth. Min-jun was perched on the edge of the sofa, shuffling papers, but the tension in the air pulled at Ji-yeon like an invisible thread. She could feel the weight of every unspoken truth pressing down around them. "We need to talk," she finally said, her voice turning steely. "About Haewon." His head snapped up, and the gaze he offered swirled with confusion and trepidation. "Can't we let it go? She's just trying to get under our skin." His response felt like a dismissal of the anxiety clawing at her heart. "It's more than that, Min-jun." She stepped closer, her emotions spilling over, emboldened by the fear of losing what they had built together. "I need to know how you really feel. I can't shake the feeling that she's still an influence in your life." Silence filled the space between them, a tangible beast. "What is it you really want to know, Ji-yeon?" Min-jun finally asked, frustration creeping into his tone. "I want to know if you ever loved her, and if those feelings are still there." Her voice broke at the end, betraying the vulnerability she had hoped to conceal. "I loved her, but that's in the past," he exclaimed, rising from the sofa, his frustration mirrored in the clenched fists at his sides. "I chose you. You are my family now." A painful lump filled Ji-yeon's throat. She wanted to believe him, yet the image of Haewon's laughter alongside Min-jun's haunted her. "But have you really embraced that, or are you simply allowing it to happen?" As the tension deepened, Min-jun's expression softened. He paced, each footfall heavy with the burden of decisions yet unmade. "You say you need to know, but what do you want me to say to make this better? What if I can't?" And just like that, she dared to lay her emotions bare. "I want you to see our family, the one we're building. I want you to acknowledge that the baby is going to change everything, and that we need to face that together." The revelation hung in the air, thick and electric. Min-jun turned to her, and in that moment, she saw it, a flicker of realization brewing within him. "The baby," he murmured, running a hand through his hair. It hadn't fully settled in until now, and with it came an avalanche of fears. The strength to protect, the uncertainty of being a father, and the vulnerability of opening his heart to a future he had previously resisted. "It's not about Haewon anymore," she pressed, sadness threading her voice. "It's about us, about what we could become. This is our chance, Min-jun." The silence that followed was suffused with weighty contemplation. Finally, he took a deep breath and stepped forward, a confession dawning on him as he locked eyes with her. "You're right. My feelings have shifted. Your pregnancy has changed everything for me," he said, voice trembling with emotion. "It's made me think about family in ways I never allowed myself to before. I want that future with you. I promise to protect it." Relief washed over Ji-yeon, filling the spaces previously occupied by doubt. He reached for her hand, pulling her close. The intensity between them rekindled the spark that had flickered while they faced the shadows of their past. "I will fight for you, for our child, for the family we can build together. You are everything to me," he vowed fervently. Tears of joy streamed down Ji-yeon's cheeks, a cathartic release. "I believe you," she whispered, feeling the strength of their connection surge anew. In the warmth of the living room, they embraced, the emotional turmoil that had threatened to undo them now transforming into a powerful bond. Each gentle heartbeat seemed to echo in harmony with the other, weaving their lives together in a tapestry rich with understanding and love. As they stood wrapped in one another's arms, Ji-yeon felt hope blossom once more. There was still much to face ahead, a world laden with challenges, uncertainties, and lingering shadows. But now, they were not alone. Together, they were certainty in uncertainty, a family on the verge of creating a new beginning. The past, with all its ghosts, did not disappear, but in acknowledging it, They had found the strength to move forward, a testament to their growth and love amid the storm. Fate has a way of weaving unexpected threads into the fabric of love. In the aftermath of Ji-yeon's revelations about her father, a specter of doubt began to spiral between her and Min-jun. Their bond, once rekindled amidst the chaos of lost family ties, now stood on the precipice of exposure and betrayal. The couple sat closely together in their dimly lit living room, the luminous city outside contrasting with the heavy emotions cloaking the space. Min-jun glanced at Ji-yeon, who sat stiffly beside him, tension radiating off her. The news had shaken them both, forcing them to spend sleepless nights replaying every moment of their shared past, searching for the truth that had long eluded them. "Do you think it's true?" Ji-yeon's voice wavered, breaking the silence that hung thick in the air. The weight of hidden family ties pressed heavily on her soul. Revelations about shared ancestry between her and Min-jun had sliced through her heart. "That we're tied more closely than we ever knew?" Min-jun's brows furrowed, and he took her hand, squeezing it gently. "We've built something beautiful," he replied, earnestness coloring his tone. "But does that really change how we feel about each other now?" "I don't know," she admitted, tears forming in her eyes. "What if this is just another twist of fate meant to tear us apart?" The thought gnawed at her, enveloping her in self-doubt, echoing fears she believed she had long since buried. Yet even in the dimmest moments, sparks of passion and love lingered. Their unborn child tied them together, a symbol of hope amidst uncertainty. Min-jun yearned to comfort her. "I want to navigate this with you, Ji-yeon," he said, his voice a soothing balm against her turmoil. "I chose you. I want to be a family with you more than I want anything else." But as days turned into a haze of emotional turmoil and sleepless nights, the specter of doubt lingered. They faced judgment from both family and friends, whispered anxieties clouding their minds. Haewon's shadow loomed large still, a reminder of the complexities of their pasts that continued to intertwine. Determined not to let their love be stifled, Ji-yeon sought out the truth, venturing into the disarray of her family history. One evening, while sifting through old photographs in her father's study, she discovered a letter tucked between the pages of a childhood story. The elegant handwriting gripped her. The truth of family secrets unfolded on the paper, revealing relationships complex and twisted beyond her imagination. "Min-jun," she called, excitement coursing through her. When he arrived, she stood, paper trembling in her hands. "Look at this. It explains everything. Why my father married your mother." Together, they read the letter, unraveling the connections binding their families, hidden partnerships meant to uphold honor and legacy that neither had envisioned. The truth was staggering. And yet, in that moment, Ji-yeon felt a clarity she hadn't anticipated. The shame and betrayal intertwined in their parents' choices stood like thunderclouds, but it was the love forged between her and Min-jun that truly mattered. "Min-jun?" she said softly, her voice unwavering as she met his eyes. "Does this change how you feel about us?" He paused, the weight of the revelation heavy on his heart. "The truth hurts, but it doesn't have to define us," he said decisively, stepping forward. "What we have is real. It's our own choice to make. I want to build a family with you." At that, Ji-yeon felt a surge of belonging flood her soul. A flicker of hope ignited within her, even in the face of uncertainty, reminding her that love could indeed transcend boundaries. Together, they stood against their family's dark history and the societal pressures weighing them down. Their hearts aligned, and with hands entwined, they faced the world with a fierce determination to protect their love. Their journey was not yet finished, and the specter of Haewon's jealousy still threatened to intrude. Yet together they took their first steps toward overcoming the shadows. Embracing the truth of their identities had ultimately forged a deeper connection and a fiercely protective bond. As night fell and stars glittered in the sky, Ji-yeon and Min-jun shared a kiss, each feeling the warmth of unity ignite between them, fueled by the promise of a future born not just of passion, but of authenticity. No longer merely victims of fate, They were architects of their happiness, choosing to confront the likes of betrayal and uncertainty together. With each passing day, they grew bolder in their love, understanding that while the road ahead may be fraught with challenges, its beauty lay not in its perfection, but in their unwavering commitment to one another amidst life's many turns. Sometimes, love must weather the fiercest storms to emerge stronger. In the heart of Seoul, as the cherry blossoms began to bloom, Ji-yeon and Min-jun found themselves confronting the fallout from Haewon's relentless meddling. Their comfortable routine had been shaken by the emotional turbulence brought on by Haewon's jealousy and manipulation, testing their commitment to each other. Each day felt heavier as they dealt with whispered rumors and lingering doubts about their relationship. Min-jun stood at the window of their shared apartment, his brows furrowing as he watched the world outside. "I need to confront her," he finally said, his voice steady but laced with determination. "I can't let Haewon continue to interfere in our lives. She has to understand that you and our child come first." Ji-yeon nodded, feeling a mix of relief and anxiety at his decision. "I don't want there to be conflict, but she's been stirring up trouble for too long. It's affecting us, Min-jun." The fear of losing the fragile sense of safety they had built together gnawed at her. What if she pushes back? What if it just makes things worse? "Whatever happens, we'll face it together." Min-jun's gaze was sincere, and Ji-yeon felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. It had been a long time since they had shared that kind of mutual understanding, deepened by shared challenges and dreams ahead. Walking through the bustling streets of their neighborhood later that week, Ji-yeon felt a sense of unease coiling around her as she and Min-jun drew nearer to Haewon's boutique. With each step, she recalled memories of Haewon's past entanglements with Min-jun and the pain they had caused. As they entered, the bell above the door chimed softly, but the atmosphere turned electric when Haewon spotted them, her expression shifting into a carefully crafted mask of surprise. "Min-jun, what a pleasant surprise," she beamed, her voice honeyed with feigned delight. Ji-yeon tensed, feeling the tension of the moment radiate through the air. Min-jun stepped forward, his resolve crackling like static electricity. "Haewon, we need to talk." His tone was firm, echoing with the weight of resolution. Ji-yeon stood beside him, her heart racing as the confrontation unfolded. "What a wonderful idea. Let's have a coffee and catch up," Haewon began, her charming demeanor shifting into armor. "No," he interrupted, the intensity of the moment turning heads. "What you've done to Ji-yeon and our family needs to stop." The silence that swept through the room was palpable, each of them frozen in the realities that had brought them there. Haewon's facade cracked momentarily, revealing a deeper vulnerability as she braced against his words. "I care for you, Min-jun. You know that." Her voice was passionate, yet tinged with desperation. "If you truly cared, you wouldn't be trying to sabotage what I have with Ji-yeon," he replied, stepping closer to Ji-yeon, affirming their unity. The connection between them felt electric, a powerful declaration of love that pushed them forward. Facing Haewon, Ji-yeon found her voice rising from the depths of her turmoil. "This isn't just about you, Haewon. I deserve to be happy, and I won't let your actions tear us apart. We are starting a family." The finality of her statement resonated deeply, a declaration of independence they needed to assert amidst the chaos. "Happiness? Is that what you call this mess?" Haewon's challenge was sharp, laced with envy. "You don't even know the truth about your families." The words struck like lightning, freezing Ji-yeon momentarily in her tracks as uncertainty washed over her. Min-jun felt her tension, stepping protectively in front of her. "This isn't the time for petty tricks, Haewon. We are here to end this cycle." But the tension ignited a realization for Ji-yeon. The pressures of family, misunderstandings, and expectations had suffocated the bond she was trying to build with Min-jun, and now they faced an uncertain landscape together, confronting the shadows Haewon had raised. "Min-jun, I need you to promise me that we will confront whatever comes, even if we have to face uncomfortable truths." Her voice was firm, yet laced with vulnerability. "Always," he affirmed, his gaze steady on hers as they faced Haiwan together. Their commitment felt fortified, reflective of deeper love and new opportunities to grow. As they left the boutique, hand in hand, Ji-yeon felt the weight of past disruptions begin to lift. Facing Haiwan had not only brought some clarity, but also ignited a fierce resolve in both Min-jun and Ji-yeon to step forward together, no longer bound by the manipulations of the past. Days passed, filled with tiny milestones as they delved into their family preparations. With every shared laugh and heartfelt conversation, their bond strengthened. Even with external pressures lingering, they focused on nurturing their future, venturing into therapy together, discussing the complexities of parenthood, and building the foundations of their family with love and respect. As the blossoms bloomed outside their window, signifying the shift of seasons, the couple embraced the transformative journey ahead. In confronting the complexities of love, jealousy, and family, they had reaffirmed their commitment to one another, finding solace in shared moments of growth. No longer separate entities, they had become interwoven threads, resilient and beautiful, creating something uniquely their own amidst the uncertainty of life. With the path ahead still uncertain and the shadows of the past ready to re-emerge, they were resolute in their partnership, prepared to weather every storm together, hands firmly clasped amidst the beautiful chaos of a life soon to be shared. Sometimes every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. The delivery room buzzed with anticipation as Ji-yeon lay on the hospital bed, her breath coming in quick bursts. Min-jun held her hand tightly, both reassured and anxious as they faced the monumental moment of bringing their child into the world. Their shared challenges had woven them closer, a fabric of love and resilience birthed through trials. "Just breathe with me," Min-jun urged, his voice steadying her amidst the whirlwind of emotions. Ji-yeon looked into his eyes, the mirror of her own fears and hopes reflected back at her. The obstacles they had faced, the turbulent shadows of Haiwan, the burden of family legacy, now melted away in the face of impending parenthood. Hours passed, each contraction a wave that pulled them deeper into the vast ocean of uncertainty and hope. When the moment finally arrived, the room erupted with the cries of their newborn son. A wave of relief and joy washed over Ji-yeon as she looked at the tiny miracle nestled in her arms. Min-jun's gaze was unyielding as he leaned closer, tears glimmering in his eyes. "He's perfect," he whispered, overwhelmed by the moment's gravity. In that instant, the reality hit them. This child was a symbol of everything they had fought for. But then, as they basked in the joy of new life, the lingering thread of doubt wove itself back into the fabric of the moment. Could they truly protect their family from the shadows of their past? The days that followed were filled with the joys of parenting, but their hearts were still tethered to unresolved issues. Ji-yeon found herself grappling with her insecurities as she adjusted to motherhood. "What if I make the wrong decisions?" she confided to Min-jun one evening, exhaustion etching her features. "What if I'm not enough for him?" Min-jun pulled her close, his grip firm and reassuring. "We'll figure it out together. We're a team now." Yet, her anxieties lingered, a reminder of the distrust Haiwan had sown. As if summoned by the tension that hung in the air, Haiwan reappeared. One afternoon, she knocked on their door unexpectedly, her smile equal parts charming and disarming. "I just wanted to see the baby," she declared, her eyes alight with feigned innocence. Ji-yeon stiffened as Min-jun's expression shifted to one of unease. He felt the familiar urge to protect Ji-yeon from her influence. "It's not a good time, Haiwan," he said, trying to maintain a polite boundary. "Oh, come on. It's been forever since we all got together. I only want what's best for the boy," she implored, glancing past him to Ji-yeon, seeking a moment of connection that felt more like manipulation. Realizing that the past could rear its head at any moment, Ji-yeon intervened. "You need to understand that we are building our family. We need space to do that without interference." Her voice held a newfound strength. Even if her heart raced with anxiety, she was willing to stand her ground. Haiwan's demeanor flickered for a brief moment before she masked it with an exaggerated pout. "How could I interfere? I only want to help, she insisted. But the underlying tension between the two women crackled like electricity. It was a testing moment, and Ji-yeon turned to Min-jun, whose discomfort was evident. He nodded, silently encouraging her to continue. Your assistance has only brought complications, Ji-yeon stated, keeping her voice steady. We need to focus on what matters, our child, not past relationships or unresolved feelings. The confrontation churned, swirling into uncertainty and revealing deep-seated insecurities. Haewon, wounded, stepped back with narrowed eyes, each word a subtle attack designed to sow discord. You think you can raise him alone without mistakes? What makes you so certain you'll get it right? Ji-yeon felt the ground beneath her waver, the silent fears creeping back, waiting to seize the moment. But she looked at Min-jun beside her, and with profound intensity, took a stand. I may not be perfect, but I'll fight for my family. For him. The dialogue that ensued was charged, emotions rising like a storm as Min-jun finally intervened, stepping into the space between the two women. We are stronger together than broken apart. This is our future. Let us choose how we build it. Haewon, sensing the finality in his words, fell silent, her spirit momentarily subdued. As she left, the door closed softly behind her, a reminder that the past does not easily let go. Yet within their home, Min-jun turned to Ji-yeon, wrapping his arms around her, pulling her into a protective embrace. I won't let her come between us, he promised, and as they held each other, the fears of the past began to melt away, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. Days steered them into a rhythm of parenthood, filled with laughter, sleepless nights, and whispered confessions shared in the quiet of a nursery. Each moment fortified their connection. They discovered new depths of understanding and ultimately began to embrace the joys of being a family more fully. When the tests and trials reached their peak, they found themselves at a crossroads once again, confronting remnants of doubt that still lingered from Haewon's intrusion. But rather than recoil, together, they vowed to face their insecurities head-on. In the warmth of their son's laughter, surrounded by soft light filtering through the curtains, Ji-yeon and Min-jun realized that love was not merely a feeling, but a choice, a commitment forged through the acknowledgement of fears and triumphs, growing stronger with every moment shared. They faced the world anew, united against whatever challenges lay ahead, replacing the ghosts of the past with hopeful dreams for their future. Amidst the chaos, they found a new normal, vowing to seize every moment, transforming their love into a resilient bond that would guide them as parents and strengthen them as partners. Within that sphere, they reached an understanding that while life sought to disrupt their happiness, together, they could overcome anything. As they shared their dreams for the future, it became clear that every challenge they faced only reaffirmed their love, crafting their family's story anew. So what did you think of this love story that started with a contract and ended with a true connection? Do you think love can blossom even in the most unlikely relationships? Let us know in the comments what you would do if you were in Ji-yeon or Min-jun's shoes. And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video for more emotional content like this. See you next time.